To discuss the International Day for the Remembrance of the Slave Trade and its Abolition, we're being joined by Jodi-Ann Quarrie from the Center for Reparations Research in UWI, Jamaica. Jodi-Ann, thank you so much for joining us. So tell me something.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me, why in 2018 should we consider this date significant, and why should we still be remembering the slave trade, abolition, and the effects of the slave trade?
When we think of history, we think of those places like Europe that had full freedom for its individuals, people there. The problem is that that very genesis of those rights for everybody started in Haiti. And therefore on August 23 in 1791, when Haitian men and women who lived in Saint-Domingue decided that they needed freedom and they fought for it, they made it very clear that the trade had to stop and abolition was important. And they paved the way for the rest of Latin America and the Caribbean and Europe to finally come to that place of granting freedom and rights to everyone. That's the genesis of the very freedom movement across the world as we know it.
So in that vein, let's discuss the Center for Reparations Research. The center's work will aid CARICOM's Reparatory Justice Program, which intends to focus on boosting public awareness of how slavery, the slave trade, has affected the region, the Caribbean. The center was formed in 2016, and so can you tell us what has been some of its most important work so far, and what are the major projects that you all are working on right now?
Biggest work so far has been a revelation that slavery is not in the past. So similar to the International Day for the Remembrance of the Slave Trade and its Abolition, we have to remember the current legacies of slavery. And for many people, that big work that we would have released would have been that in 2015, when the United Kingdom indicated that they had already, slavery was in the past for them, they were still continuing to pay off loans that they had taken out in 1834 to pay white planters for black enslaved bodies. That's major work coming out of the center. We're going to have a series of seminars discussing the psychological harm currently as a result of enslavement, the physical and genetic changes that have taken place as a result of enslavement, and why, for example, the Caribbean has one of the highest rates of diabetes and hypertension in the world. It's not just our diets, but 400 years of feeding people particular foods, doing particular things. The trauma has led to this place.
So Jodi-Ann, finally, how would you like to see the Caribbean respond to this day, the International Day for the Remembrance of the Slave Trade and its Abolition? How should we be honoring this day, ideally?
We have to honor this day by memorializing, by marking it. Solemn ceremonies, of course, are important, but we just had here in the region for many of the CARICOM member states Emancipation Day, where we similarly sat down and remembered the slave trade, the abolition of the slave trade, and the full freedom that was finally granted to those of African descent. We're now celebrating 180 years of that. So a day like today is another opportunity to remember just how close we are, in time at least, to the horrors of enslavement. And as you pointed out earlier, because things like this happen again, renew our commitment to eliminate it wherever it is on the planet.
Jodi-Ann Quarrie, thank you so much for chatting with us. We appreciate your insight on this.
Pleasure to be here with you.
Okay, bye-bye.